Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to take a look at the Arcane Maelstrom Commander deck for Magic the Gathering. On the back here it says, Calamax is a creature of pure destructive chaos whose presence alone moves mountains and reshapes the horizon. It exudes raw elemental energy, power any mage would covet if they could get close enough to harness it. It contains a deck box, a 100 card deck with 17 new cards, 10 double-sided token cards, plus a foil oversized commander card, life wheel, strategy insert, and reference card. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a look at what's inside. So I don't quite understand the purpose of these giant cards, but here we are. Calamax the Stormsire is 1 green, blue, red for a legendary creature, elemental dinosaur. Whenever you cast your first instant spell each turn, if Calamax the Stormsire is tapped, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. Whenever you copy an instant spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Calamax. So this is a spell creature of some sort. And the card is... we have a... I don't know what this is. I guess a card divider. A life wheel. A insert, which has information about how to play Calamax, as well as some of the other commanders that have been put in the deck, so that's nice. It's a little bit sparse in terms of what it says, so it's not really giving you a proper deck tech there. Just a very vague instruction on how you can play the commanders, a little bit on the actual commander rules themselves. Then on the back, it tells you a little bit about each creature. It's kind of nice that there is at least this much. I kind of wish that there was just a little bit more story, but I understand that sometimes people are more impressed by artwork than they are by story. Let's take a look at the deck. There's the deck. I'll play it against its peers and I'll be back to let you know what I think. So let's talk about the Arcane Maelstrom commander deck from Ikoria. Before I even go into the deck, we have to talk about a major production problem that I found with this particular product. I had this stored with all of my other Magic products in either the deck boxes that they came with or deck boxes of my own purchasing. And this happened to the Face Commander and the fold out informational pamphlet. Everything kind of stuck to itself. This stuck to the commander like this, and then when I pulled it off, all this debris came off of this fold out thing. The commander itself became massively warped and bent as well, as did Calamax, the actual foil card that came with the deck. This was on top of the deck, whereas all the other cards were kind of shuffled into the deck, and this became a taco. This is a problem, not just for the fact that part of what I paid for got entirely ruined by what I am guessing is the deck box itself. This also stuck to the other deck boxes as well, and so when I picked it up, it tore here. And as you can see, there's some damage on the inside where the paper stuck to itself as well. I do not know what is causing this in particular. I know that it has something to do with moisture being taken from this paper, and so I don't know if the problem is with the quality of the paper of the cards and the box and the fold out that was included, but this is a major problem. If I did not sleeve my cards, I wonder if they would have also stuck to each other and been completely ruined. And I wouldn't have even known because I just took it out, played with it a couple times after sleeving it, and then put it away. And so keep this in mind. If you have these, don't leave it in the box without sleeves on it. And if you want to preserve these things as well, make sure to not leave them in this particular deck box either. I'm going to be transferring this to a box of my own. And I would also note that if you notice that your box and its contents are sticking, I would try to re-moisturize these things before trying to take them apart. Otherwise, you're going to have what I had here in terms of the paper sticking to the cards or to itself and just completely tearing apart as you mess with it. So major warning, this is a big problem with this particular set of commander decks, and I don't know if it's particular to just this particular set or all of the sets, so that's something to keep in mind. That aside, let's talk about the actual deck. This deck has 4 different commanders included. The main commander, Calamax the Stormsire, Xeris the Withering Storm, and the partners of Halden Avid Arcanist and Paco Arcane Retriever. I think that these commanders offer something a little different. Calamax the Stormsire and the partners are actually both interested in casting non-creature spells, and so these two are fairly interchangeable, I think, in this deck, but Xeris the Withering Storm has a completely different idea in mind, and that is that it is, I guess, a kind of group hug commander, because you're getting tokens when your opponents draw extra cards, and then you can say, hey, let me hit you with Xeris the Withering Storm, and we'll both draw 3 cards, or whatever that is. So that's kind of an interesting twist, and this is the most interesting of the commanders in this particular package. This is a bit of a spellcaster deck, but it's kind of weird because for a spellcaster deck, there are not a ton of instants in this deck, and so I often found myself with a lot of permanents on the battlefield that would benefit from casting an instant, but not really being too many instants comparatively to what is in the deck. And so I found that it doesn't play as well as I would like with Calamax and Halden and Paco. I found that Xeris was actually the most fun to play of these because of the imbalance in the distribution of card types in the deck. And perhaps with even more plays, I would have been able to see the deck go off, but I never saw any of this go off. And so as I played the deck more and more, I wanted to play with the spell-focused commanders less and with Xeris more. And that may be able to be fixed. Perhaps I was just unlucky. The proportion of the deck is correct, but that was my experience. And so I found the deck to be a bit disappointing as a result. I think that it was a bit slow. It didn't really go off. Even Paco and Halden I found to be not extremely exciting as a pair. The ability to get extra cards from your opponent's decks is kind of fun, but you have to hit in terms of hitting non-creature cards. And yeah, sure, that can happen. You can get some artifacts or whatever, and then you can recast those cards with Halden and Paco grows bigger. But in my plays, I think I maybe cast like 2 or 3 cards altogether with Halden and Paco. And Calamax, I think I only got the trigger maybe 2 or 3 times as well over all the plays that I had. And so these were kind of disappointing, and I didn't feel like the deck felt that much like a Spellslinger deck either. I felt it was just like a mix of cards. There's some ramp here, there's some other just generally okay cards, and that ramp and so forth, it's supposed to give you the ability to leave your mana up so that you can cast spells on your opponent's turns. And there's a few cards here that care about things like that, but overall I didn't find the playstyle that effective in the limited number of games that I was able to play. Now maybe you have a better experience with this particular deck, and if you did, let me know in the comments below how rad it was, how you're able to chain off your instants and get free copies of your spells, and Calamax or Paco grow huge and you killed your opponents. And Xeris doesn't really play well with what the deck is trying to do, because this is just drawing you cards, and so you could put this in almost any other teamer deck, and I think Xeris, it would do what Xeris does. So that I have not been able to experience either Calamax or Halden and Paco doing their thing makes this one of the least fun decks of the Ikoria set. And so that is my experience with the Arcane Maelstrom commander deck from Ikoria. Let me know what your experiences were. If they were much more different, I would love to hear that. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.